This is Nerdarchy Snubs with Nerdarchy.com, for nerds by nerds. We are here with many members of DG's ZOE at ZOECon. Let them introduce themselves, but first let me introduce Asa Kinney here.
I almost thought I wasn't getting the introduction today.
I almost dropped that ball. I'm sorry. So let's start right to left.
Done and done. I'm Luke Amundsen. Within Journey Quest, I play Yark Flay's Children, one of the orcs.
Oh, I'm Brian S. Lewis. I play Caro in Journey Quest and Cass/Brother Silence in the Gamers series and various other higgledy-piggledy parts throughout the universe.
I'm Samara Lerman, and in Journey Quest, I play the Assassin. And in the gamers world, I play Myriad from Hands of Fate. Ooh. And I also have been working in the Strowlerverse upcoming. I am creative producer and on the writing team of Strowlers, and I directed the Strowlers film in Mongolia.
You got an opening question, or can I jump into the one that just popped in my head?
Do that one.
All right. So, Mongolia, what was that like? Please enlighten us.
Incredible, and it's a hard one to narrow down into a soundbite.
Right. Still into it.
But we were working in Mongolia with a Mongolian cast and crew on a script written by a Mongolian shaman. And she also is just this super down-to-earth, badass, woman in her 40s who chain smokes and took us out dancing. So it's a world that's blending of all this incredible magic and tradition, and also Ulaanbaatar is an urban center, which is where we were based out of. We were there for a month. We got a condo, rented an Airbnb that we were staying at, and working with an entirely Mongolian cast and crew, and yeah, it was the time of my life. I mean, really, really amazing.
Sounds like it.
I cannot wait. We just got, from our Mongolian editor, we just got the assembly cut of the film. And the assembly cut is where they take all of the footage and they put everything in, and nothing elegant has been done to it yet. And this is actually the first assembly cut of any project I've ever worked on that watching it didn't make me want to cry and go sit in a corner and give up everything because assembly cuts are so painful to watch. And I watched this one and I was like, oh, I can see where it's going, and so that was really exciting.
Awesome. So what makes Mongolia really unique to the Strowlers universe?
We were invited to Mongolia because we have a colleague, Amalia Rubin, here, who lives and works in Mongolia and has a number of shaman friends. And she was telling them about Strowlers, about the world, which is this alternate now where magic is regulated by the government. And her shaman friends just said, well, that's our lives. Because shamanism was made illegal under communism. They were asking people who were shamans to register, much like the people who practice magic in the Strowlerverse have to. And so it just resonated with them so deeply that they said, we want to tell a story in this world. And so this story is based on a lot of our writers' real experiences of having her powers manifest and becoming a shaman, but it's blended with the iconography of the Strowlerverse. So it's a unique project for sure.
That sounds fascinating.
That kind of stuff has been very much encouraged, especially in the budding Strowler universe, for people to kind of take their own story and build. I mean, get in contact with ZOE and stuff to try to get some guidelines, but where to start. But
yeah, we have a wiki, and we have we're a world Bible that we're in the process of putting out into the world so that anyone can tell a story that takes place kind of in their backyard. What's the magic in how can you take where you live and where you are and find the Strowler story there?
Sounds very similar to what happened to my ancestors with their religious beliefs in Ireland.
Yes, we actually shot a Strowler film in Ireland.
Figured that was a good segue. Were you involved in the Ireland shoot, or?
I was.
Samara
I
definitely was, yeah.
acted in that.
Awesome. So how was that like?
Ireland is also a place where you like feel the magic in the earth the minute you step off the plane. It's so incredible. And we were staying with locals, and we're shooting, these ruined castles and a haunted lake.
You
And
can see some of the photos online. They're incredible shots.
Which castle, if you don't mind me asking?
it's called Three Castle Head.
Oh, yeah.
Now you remembered. I asked her the same question the other day.
Yes.
And she could not remember one word in that. I won't
I
tell
said,
you which.
I know, I'll tell you. He's like, what was the name of the castle? And I'm like, it's Three Something Head, and I cannot remember. It's three something head.
Goat, dragon.
I don't know.
Pigeon.
And so I had
Chimera.
What is the name of this
Tiamat.
castle?
I-
Three one head.
I had to chase down Lisa Coronado, who went to Ireland with us, and ask her, what was the name of that castle? Three Something Head. And she goes, Three Castle Head. It's like, oh, yeah.
Did Lisa Coronado write that story?
Lisa Coronado created the character of Pepper Jones, who's one of the leads in that story. Ben Dobbins wrote the outline, the story, and then Lisa and I, Pepper and I, we improvised a lot of the dialogue, and then turned that into the script.
Oh.
So he gave us the points to reach, and we helped figure out exactly what the characters would say to get there.
Cool.
So it's a cool process.
Nice.
Definitely might want to jump in on that. My family over there and get their story and work
Yeah.
with that. Great. Because, well, it's an open world. You can create anything. You know?
Where in Ireland is your family from?
Yes.
So time to
This
do
is-
some reading.
We're asking the questions.
Sorry.
Oh no, it's totally fine. We are Clan MacNeil Labar, which is we're part of the Black Irish. We kind of got chased out of our home in time long forgot and kind of roamed everywhere. If you ever seen the movie Snatch, they have the Gypsy Rovers in there, and that heavy accent where nobody can understand them. Yeah, it's my cousins. So,
The pikey.
yeah, it's a fun people. I mean, my mom's name is so ethnically Irish, you can't even say it without the accent. Sean Kelly and McNeil O'Hagan. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah, she's Russian. No, just kidding. Brian, what has been your favorite role with DG and ZOE here? Because you bring them all to life, that's for sure.
My favorite is probably, it's Caro, really, but obviously the other ones, specifically Cast Brothers Silence, are a lot of fun too, because there's lots of things to play with, and I get to, there's a little bit more comedy beats, and I can, deal with those. Caro has some comedy beats too, but there's a lot more, deep, daunting, drama stuff that, I get to play with as well, so. I think my answer for that would probably be Caro, and especially because I just really like the depth of where he's going and the kinds of things that he has to deal with. And
any hints or previews where he's going?
Well, how about some people will like it and others will not.
Ouch.
I would
Well played,
also
sir.
say he's very stubby.
Yeah,
He might come up a little short.
spoilers,
Right.
No.
There's obviously you were there for the season 4 read through, which we did through episodes 1 through 5.
Yeah.
I think. And so that was premiered here at ZOECon. And obviously the writing process has a lot longer to go before it's in its final stages. I mean, it's constantly getting other drafts and stuff going on. I remember in season 3, we did a small little private literary party where we all proved that we could, read things. And,
Important skill to have as an actor, I'm assuming.
Right, exactly. And some of those things might have been things that we were going to be doing. Anyway, the point was that there were some things that got changed even in that late stage in the game, and those things are always kind of happening.
Now, was that before or after the Kickstarter went up?
That was after.
Yeah,
like-
that was essentially a month before we started shooting.
Yeah,
Sure.
and
So I mean, even at that late in the process, there were still revisions and changes happening.
it's pretty
Oh, yeah.
typical, really. I mean, like, yeah, there's always kind of people haven't seen it yet, perhaps, or they have an idea or something like that. But
Now, I assume that with the Kickstarter, the way it worked, and the Orcish master level adding to the Orcish language, you playing an orc, you were constantly having to learn new words, right?
Season 3, it's kind of funny, it was the lightest load for us as orcs having to learn new Orcish because we were human for so much of the season. Jeremy and I would finish up at 1 o'clock and not have makeup to take off. We're like, what the hell do I do with the rest of my day? But yeah, that's absolutely something that's been fun to see as it's evolved, that the language has gotten so much more robust, and every time we dig into it, there's more there to play with.
So that trio, those three orcs, like, I think I equated them to someone as almost like the Three Stooges. Like, it's very physical in the comedy because of is that driven heavily by the fact that you're speaking this other language, and on set you don't have all the subtitles to go with it, essentially?
Well, speaking just for me, I think we all pretty much have the script memorized in Orcish and in English. When we get the breakdowns, each line is actually written out 4 times.
Yeah.
There's what it means in English, what it literally translates to in English from Orcish, the Orcish as it actually is, and the Orcish phonetically. So you're trying to keep all of those things in line so you know what you're saying.
I'm so not jealous of that.
yeah.
I can't even imagine having to remember that and get the body
Yeah,
language going. Oh,
It's an interesting challenge, let's put it that way. But like when people come up and say, "Oh, can you do some of that speech from season 2?" No, no, I don't have that right in my back pocket. So yeah, that's absolutely been something that's fun, and just because we're all first trying to learn how to work with the prosthetics, and we've all gotten more comfortable with that as it's gone on. But yeah, it does lend itself to being a little broader and more physical in terms of its presentation.
Yeah.
And I mean, so much of what we do is exaggerating stories or otherwise, making fun of human culture, etc. So it just kind of lends itself to being really
the human
broad.
walk.
The human walk.
Yeah, I was
that's
about to
what-
say that the 3 of you poking your heads out from behind and then walking, like, it kills me every time I watch
it's
it.
Human breeding.
wonderful slapstick.
And that is pure Stooges, like
Right.
that sequence in particular.
And the gluten allergy comment. That's
There's actually, if season 4 does happen,
When?
Thank you.
Yeah.
If when / kind of thing.
I literally have the money to go into your Kickstarter, set aside. It's just waiting for the announcement.
So
Thank you.
Nubs is going to fund the whole season.
Oh, no.
That's sweet. That's very nice.
That's what I heard.
I might need a couple more L&I payments there.
But we might look forward to perhaps another language entering into the kind of world, because
True.
as many of our fans know, that Orcish is actually, it's not just gobbledygook. It's actually a legit language that was written by Matt Vansel. It has rules and has grammar, and like this word means this thing. And there's actually some books out there. I believe there's two versions of Orcish to English dictionary.
Dictionaries, yeah.
So you can check those out. Written by Matt Vansel.
Yep, got one on my bookshelf.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. And any preview onto what that additional language is?
You'll just have to wait and see.
I'm guessing Elven. Just my guess.
There's lots of fantasy type people out
There
there.
are
Although
more
we
than
did
just
have a
elves
second
and
language in
orcs,
season
you know.
3,
Yeah, we haven't
technically,
done that,
so. Yeah.
which was the troll or the.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it was
Ogrish,
just
yeah.
ogrish. It was just yelling.
Yeah.
Right.
It was
The rules were a
with
little looser
inflection.
on that one. Yeah.
Kind of remind me of Finding Nemo and Speaking Whale. And
Yeah.
This is just great. So, I know this ain't a DG Zoe thing, but I gotta ask, is Dirty Do-Gooders ever gonna see the light of day anymore?
Oh, you're a fan of that, aren't you?
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
The answer to that is probably a big hard no. Is my guess. Is just because there's Dirty Do-Gooders, for those of you who don't know, is a web series I did a long time ago with some friends of mine. But they were thinking they were going to be going in a filmmaking direction, and one did, and the other one didn't, and just these things kind of happen sometimes. We all get really charged up. And actually, that's the way that I met Trin Miller, is through that web series, and
That was one of her first.
absolutely that was her first job. But
So that leads into my question. How did each of you get involved with Zoe in the first place?
You've been involved the longest.
okay, I got involved because I came to an audition for the Gamers Darkness Rising. At that point, they had already been sort of a company and had already had some things under the belt, like the original Gamers and Demon Hunters and Demon Hunters Dead Camper Lake and things. So they wanted to do this new movie, and actually, it was found by my mother of all people. Like, hey, isn't this the game that you play? And so she gave me the audition kind of slip. I was like, yeah, thanks, Mom. She is always interested in looking and trying to find things for me to do. A big fan of mine. But then I auditioned for that, and I got to meet Scott C. Brown and got to meet Christian Doyle and
Both
Matt
awesome
Vansel,
people.
Don Early, all the people. And I was originally not actually cast as Cass. I was random creepy knife guy. But and actually Scott wasn't cast as Flynn either. He was cast as I believe the farmer. That's eventually played by Ed.
The one that Lester blows up.
Yes, that's the one. Yes. But anyway, yeah, we were all
Demon in Disguise.
we're all sitting around reading the script together, and I was really getting a lot of the jokes. And I was sitting right by Matt Vansel, and he was just kind of like, "Oh, you got that joke," that kind of thing. And turned out the other guy couldn't do it, and and they gave me the part, and Bob's your uncle.
All right.
Actually, do have an Uncle Bob.
Yeah.
So do I.
I remember seeing the casting call for Darkness Rising a few years before I got involved.
Oh, really? You saw it?
I saw
on the
the
post?
yeah, I saw the post. And several years later, I saw a casting call for some nerdy little web series with lots of fantasy characters, and I said, well, that sounds like fun. Let me see what else they've done. And I watched Gamers, and I said, that's hilarious. The writing is so good. And I knew Carol Roscoe from the theater world, and I said, well, yeah, I just showed up. I didn't know anybody. And they auditioned me for Ren, and I was like, I can't carry a tune, so I'm definitely not going to play the bard. And they auditioned me for the assassin and for death, and I got cast as the assassin. And I remember I high kicked face level in the audition, and I think that's what got me.
That's the
role.
clincher.
That
Yeah,
was-
they're like, boom.
Yeah, that's a way to play it that.
Right. So of the three roles, is that the one you wanted?
Yes, that
Okay.
was the
So
one
you
I
got-
wanted.
you
I
did-
got the role I wanted.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Another not so spoiler, but teaser. The assassin has a really interesting kind of thing that she's doing in season 4. You really get to explore who she
Really
is.
curious about how she left off the whole zombification thing that seemed to be going on
Yeah,
there.
and the double moon thing and all that kind of stuff.
The teasers we got during the read through were pretty intriguing. So.
Cool.
Yeah, from the very beginning, Matt and I have been chatting about her past and where she's going, and it's one of those things that I knew where we were headed with it from the beginning. And it's exciting. I'm really excited about the fact that we're starting to get to those places.
Yeah.
Where
Absolutely.
I've been very excited to see how she is linked to the elf and whatnot, and how all that fits together. Like right from the first get-go, you two had some chemistry of kind of catty hatred towards each other, and I was like, what's there? There's a story there. Can we explore it? And we finally get to go there. So,
Yeah.
and you with how you got to Zoe.
So I was in a production of. I keep wanting to say Two Gentlemen of Verona, but it's not that. I was in a production with Camille Vansel when auditions were taking place for Darkness Rising. And I actually read for that and was cast as the farmer before Scott was cast as the farmer. But I wasn't available when shooting was happening, so I just sort of bowed out for the next couple of years.
You ever dangle that in front of Scott's face?
You know, I really don't. I should, but I don't.
And I could have been the pile of dead birds. But.
And then I met Scott and Brian on a production of Three Musketeers in the theater a couple years later. And then when stuff came up for Journey Quest, Christian recommended me to Matt again to come and see one of the shows that we were working in at the time. And then onward and upward to Orkness from there. So, yeah, kind of a weird roundabout path on it, but...
And it's interesting how, maybe it's just like this everywhere, maybe it's just around here in Seattle, but like how are the trails kind of crossed so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, like she saw the post for this one thing and knew it, a friend from theater, and we end up knowing each other exactly from Three Musketeers. It's just interesting how those kinds of relationships sort of branch into each other.
Yeah, I'm kind of amused by how many connections seemed like 6 degrees of separation, and always seems to go to John Munn. Like, seriously, that guy's connected to everything.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, in a good way. But, so, who would be, if you had to name one actor or whatnot who kind of inspired you, who would that be?
Big question.
I feel like you knew that question before it came out of his mouth.
I knew where it was going because I'm really bad at answering it.
So you were prepping.
I was like
Yeah.
bracing myself
Romeo Nightmare.
for it. Judi Dench.
Oh,
I grew up. My background is classical, so I grew up doing Shakespeare, and there's a production of the Scottish play from the 70s that she plays Lady M, and there's a monologue that she gives in that was a revelation to me. I'd seen so many people play that role in so many different ways, and the nuance, I discovered so much about that character by watching her do it, and then, you know, just everything she's ever done since. She's one of my favorites.
first person to ever say her, and I love why. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Is that a common question then?
I try to sneak that into anytime I'm doing an interview with an actor or whatnot of who inspired you, and
You forgot to ask Nathan.
No. Who inspired us to become an actor?
yes,
Or who inspires
I
us
asked him
now?
yesterday.
Okay.
We didn't get in the interview. Yeah. Who inspired you to become an actor, to get involved in
Okay.
performance arts and acting? and all that?
So, sort of an initial situation. I actually hate this question too because I kind of have so many answers for it.
Yeah, it's a hard.
Um,
It's a really hard.
That's why you keep asking clarification questions to figure out so
Yeah.
you stall a little longer.
So I think probably I've been wanting to be an actor since I was a little kid. Although at the time I didn't really know that that's what I wanted to be, because I didn't really know that that's what was happening. I just wanted to sort of be in sort of that scenarios, and then I learned about like what movies are and what television is and stuff like that. So I mean, fairly early on, it was probably Harrison Ford. Was just because I wanted to do what he did, and it seemed very effortless what he did, especially in Indiana Jones, and watched those all up and down, Star Wars, obviously, and stuff. And so I just kind of, I don't know, he seemed just so natural at being the kind of guy that I wanted to be at a young age, and so I kind of wanted to emulate it. But then it turned out, it's like, oh, he's an actor and he can do that, and he's actually have a whole lot of other roles that he's amazing at too. But it's going on since there are other people now kind of like fuel that whole thing. But I think the first out of the gate was Harrison Ford.
Good answer.
Not so much who inspired me to be an actor, because again, I think that's more just I got exposed to being in some shows when I was very young,
Right.
and said, "Oh yeah, no, this is fun. I want to keep doing this."
Yeah.
In terms of a career, if I could steal a career from someone or a career path I would love to emulate, Gene Hackman. Because as soon as Gene Hackman got recognized for being a legitimate, serious actor,
Bonnie and Clyde.
he immediately went and started doing goofy, fun stuff instead. You know, immediately. Oh yeah, you need the blind homeless man in Young Frankenstein. Yeah, no, I'll go ahead and do that. That sounds fun. And he just did a really masterful job of, I think, finding projects that appealed to him and kept him fully invested. And that's why he had such a long run of being a vital actor. I think Judi Dench has done very much the same thing. Like, she's been so smart with how the choices she's made.
And they don't take themselves seriously.
Exactly.
They take the art seriously. They're passionate about what they do, but they don't take themselves seriously.
Yep.
Both of them.
It's like, oh no, you want me to show up and be the queen and I'm kind of vulgar? Yeah, that'll be fun. You know, I really appreciate that spirit of, yeah, let's show
play.
up and do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember what movie Hackman was a queen in.
If anything, the Birdcage.
The Birdcage,
would
yeah.
be the
That's true.
closest, but-
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you can find Judi Dench's interview about talking about how she got a tattoo on her
Posterior.
yeah, that's worth watching. It's
Uh-huh.
hilarious.
Well, there's YouTube. I'm sure it's there.
Yeah. So I remember a while back, flashed across my YouTube feed and everything, Brian, you were involved with the Tacoma Youth Theater. Are you still involved in that or whatnot?
We did a video for them just to kind of like, you know, get more eyeballs on that organization, and it's really great what they do. They end up actually getting the space or being able to like you know, do stuff with the space that they wanted to do, and that's actually a point that Hat Trick Pony often does their shows at Tacoma Youth Theater, and it's run by Scott Campbell, and it's really great because, like, you know, it allows like the kids to find that bug that, like, you know, I'm sure that we all did at some point when we were young, and not get a little more confident with talking with people and having social interactions and getting culture and interacting with other people. There's just lots of skills that you build in that kind of environment, and it's really great that there's a place for that, and a positive one. And so not directly, but by association, because he's a friend of mine and I agree in his product.
All right.
Cool. I'm trying to get my daughter into there, so.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so I believe in it, and every time I see it, like, hey, we need funding, go. Yeah.
Good. Gaming.
Yeah,
Gaming?
we were going the same place.
Okay. I'm just gonna throw no question, just gaming.
Just gaming.
Gaming's fun.
All right.
Yes. Yes.
Favorite system, most memorable character. I know we're short on time. So.
Yeah.
We got a wedding to go to, so.
And some of us haven't dressed yet. But
And
quick-
some of us have.
What's that?
what was the question?
Favorite gaming system?
Favorite gaming system. So we're talking RPGs, we're talking video games, we're talking
Tabletop.
tabletop, we're talking all
Our
these kinds
audience
of
is
things.
predominantly tabletop, so
Yeah.
yeah, probably tabletop.
Okay. This is in like things like Pathfinder, just everything that
Whatever
you can
you
play on a
toss
table.
dice to.
Got it.
Whatever you really enjoy.
Well, I can go first, and if you want, all right, you guys can think of your answer. I would have said Pathfinder in the beginning. You know, I started on at 3.0 of D&D, then 3.5, and then switched over to Pathfinder. Pathfinder was my favorite out of all of them. But I don't know, I've done some other ones throughout there. I'm now on a 5e, Dungeons and Dragons, which I'm liking a lot. That's really helpful to have a really good GM though. But as far as like, it's not just RPGs for me. Like I really like board games and stuff too. Like Game of Thrones. I'm really into Seven Wonders right now. I actually hosted a thing where I was able to meet with some of the fans and stuff and sit down and have a game, and that was a lot of fun.
I was really disappointed when I saw that going on, and I went, how did I miss that? I haven't played it in Seven Wonders in years, and I would really love to play again.
Oh, it's super fun.
It is.
Preference?
Go.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Rift's world. The mechanics of Palladium can be a pain.
Bit daunting, yeah.
And more convincing people who aren't familiar with it to learn the system because it is so unique. But I just love that world. That's always been one of my favorite settings. I've played way more Pathfinder in 3.5 than anything else, though.
Mm.
And I'm actually just gearing up to play my first 5th Ed.
Oh, cool.
So that'll be interesting. I'm just sort of getting into the mechanics of that now.
All right.
Pretty much all of my RPG experience has been Pathfinder. And when it comes down to it, I prefer anything that doesn't feel like recreational math.
I'm so stealing that term.
So
I mean, it's
not a Rifts person.
Yeah. I like story-based gaming and gaming that's about like messing with your opponents, and so I have a lot of different kind of board game type.
You would be frightening in the world of darkness.
Yeah. So
That's a weird, nerdy come on. You would be frightening in the world of darkness.
No,
that's
it's
what
just
all the boys say.
I'm putting together a World of Darkness game to be streamed over Twitch and whatnot. And so, like every time somebody starts talking about gaming, I'm like, would they be good in the game?
Mm.
And she mentioned she likes the story-driven game, and that is
Mm-hmm.
entirely what World of Darkness is. It is the storyteller system for a reason.
Yeah, I prefer not to like have to think too much about the mechanics and really just like play story is kind of where my personal strengths in that one.
It's like Frackin' Epic. It's kind of like that. It's a buddy of mine developed a kind of game that came to him on a road trip because they were bored and they just wanted to do something that was very easy and just story-based kind of thing, and basically allowing the people who were playing the game to just do really cool stuff, like, and just having a way to do that. But he ended up getting it published, I believe. I think you can find it. It's Frackin' Epic.
I'm gonna have to look into that. Yeah.
Dread's my favorite storytelling game because it's just, here's a Jenga tower. We've got a few light rules. You pull from that.
Mm.
That's a lot of fun.
World of Darkness for me, it's just, oh, you want to do this completely insane thing? Here, roll like 4 dice. You're good. Whatever.
So I think we'll call for this to be about a wrap up since you guys do have the stuff to get ready for. Any final questions or last words? Final words?
Thank you so much for wanting to talk to us.
Yeah,
It was really
yeah,
fun.
absolutely.
Can we get you to join us in our sign off? We sign off every video with Stay Nerdy.
Absolutely.
And is that delivered to
Like
you
all
or
at
to the camera?
simultaneously.
camera.
To the camera.
Okay.
Specifically.
Yeah.
All right.
Stay
Stay
nerdy.
nerdy.
Oh, that was bad.